Hey, bro. So good morning, man. Man, I was so looking forward to this call because of what we were talking about early on, in the chat. So I'm excited, man. Tell me about it. Like, how are you doing first?
Yeah, man, I'm doing good, phenomenal. Thank you for asking, man. I'm blessed, just having the opportunity to be able to step into the office every day and help some people out. That's golden right there. You know what I'm saying? So everything's been good, man. We definitely had some good stories here this last month, and something that I think is like, carries some valuable weight to it.
Nice. Tell me more, man. I mean, you already initiated saying that you have some good stories of the last month. Tell me about it. I want to hear it.
Yeah, man. So like oftentimes when you and I meet, or you, my team, and you meet, Carlos, we always discuss not just directly the marketing stuff, but also like ideas and ideas, tips, just kind of brainstorming, right? We're always picking each other's brain on how we can essentially not just capitalize on the marketing, but capitalizing on the opportunities and doing that the right way. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
this last month, like between the conversations we've had with you, the conversations I've had with our personal coach, and just like the experience in general, man, we so two deals that we finally closed on. One of them closed yesterday, the other one last week, but it was definitely some stories from September, or really like leading up to September. So like one of the so for example, like with Facebook, where with inbound marketing, people have the idea that like you got a one call close, and if they're not ready to go on that first call, then you pretty much forget about them, right? And I'm a really big proponent for I don't even know if that's the right word, but I'm a really big fan of follow up, right? And actually, like, sometimes like we've said before, deals or people's situations, people's in this case, you're looking to sell. Oftentimes comes down to to time and circumstance. So what do I mean by that? Like, there was one lead in particular that came in. I was looking at it earlier. I think it came in May, right?
Mhm.
It came in May. Funny, or not funny, unfortunate, but good thing he's doing better. When I first talked to him, he was in the hospital bed. So it was kind of one of those things where it was just difficult to get a hold of him, right? And I couldn't really have that offer call on that first call because he was literally in the hospital bed, and I'm like, damn, I don't even know how to. So I entertained it as much as possible. I pretty much kind of planted the seed in the guy's head, and days went by. He was communicating at first, and over time, his asking price was over here. I couldn't do it, but I knew that he was going to sell, so I ended up following up. I lost touch with him for months at a time, and I was persistent. Obviously, it wasn't a lead that I was necessarily spending all of my time on, but I made sure that if I followed up with him once or twice a week, that I would make the attempt a couple of times, keep it moving so he could see that I'm on his phone, right? So, anyways, long story short, man, what is it? Fast forward to like the end of August. I think it was like the 28th of August. Finally managed to talk to him again. He was brought back from my VA that handles all of the kind of like the leads that are not ready to go today. And we finally got it under contract. We took this price, put it down to this price, and then we retraded the deal again, so we got a lower price. And at the end of the day, man, what we thought was going to be not so attractive property, maybe not a good price, just because of the type of property and the condition and things like that. We ended up turning it into a deal, right? So like the biggest takeaway for me and my team on that one is number one, persistence, determination, right? You got to keep on these people, right? When you identify like something, when you put yourself in their shoes and you identify something that okay, at some point this situation is going to it's going to be enough for them, right? And we want to be there to
Mhm.
provide a solution. As long as you can find that, and I'm not saying spend all your time on this lead, like, like but you got to take care of them, right? And like I said, it comes down to time and circumstance, so we were persistent. We got resourceful on that one, and we when the opportunity came, we immediately got resourceful and contacted a buddy of ours, and immediately turned the deal from A to B to B to C, like within a day or two. And we got it done. So my team definitely learned like a valuable, because my VAs, they work on commission also. So, if they bring back a deal and we get it closed, they make money. So that was a good example. And I had a conversation with them. I was like, listen, guys, this is a prime example here. Like, don't give up on these leads, and it's only a matter of time, right? So you got to keep on keeping on.
It almost seems as if one of the biggest lessons, I mean, because you know a little bit about this, but you're building more and more proof that this is true, right? So it seems like a little bit what you're doing is you're analyzing the deal for what it is at the moment that you start the first conversation, but you also have a vision of what the deal can be pretty soon because you're understanding where the client is coming from, that the motivation is there, and it's gonna get even tighter with time, right? Time and circumstances. That's what you were saying, right? And a deal that may not make sense today may make sense in the next week, in the next few weeks, right? Or next week, or the next few weeks, right? So that's what I'm hearing, man. Can we talk a little bit more on numbers? Like, how did it come? What was the best that you could get from the guy at the beginning, and what did it evolve to?
100%, man, 100%. Let me actually, so I can give you some honest feedback.
Love it.
Go ahead and pull it up right here. Da, da, da.
While you're doing that, I want
So
to tell you that you have a solid system because I know you, and your CRM allows you to prioritize on those things. So I know that you were not wasting a ton of time on that follow up, but you had a system that allowed you to you knew how to look up and how to use your time wisely.
100%, 100%. Yeah, man. This, obviously having a CRM, man, I
Yeah.
mean, it's crucial, right? It's
And
like
I know
your
your
best
numbers,
friend
and
almost.
I know your numbers, and then I know you're not leaving any of the newer leads unattended. Your team is solid on that as well. So it's a matter of knowing where to prioritize your time based on what I'm hearing.
100%, man. So like I said, this lead actually came in March, March 30th. It came in on a weekend. That's the whole story happened where I got a hold of him initially, like at the very beginning, and then time went on, and he was brought back to us. So March happened, obviously April, May, June, July, August. And within that time, I was still contacting him personally. But then after a couple of months, I just said, you know what, let me let my lead manager handle this, right? Because I trained him for that. So I was confident that, and this guy's gonna remember my name. So we're definitely gonna do business. But then, fast forward to mid-August, got a hold of him again, right? So initially, whenever he came in, right, to answer your question about the numbers, when he came in, he was asking $125,000 for the property. I don't remember what his starting price was, right? But I remember that, like, at the end of the call, 125 was like, okay, this is what I want to take, right? So that was prior to him kind of going MIA. So I knew that at that price, it just didn't make sense. It just needed a lot of repairs, and I knew he was kind of shooting for the stars. So when we talked to him in August again, we managed to come down from 125. He came down to 100,000. And then immediately, I think I made him an offer of like, 50 or something like that, 50,000. I don't have those numbers in front of me right now, but we ended up settling initially at 85. So he came down from
Mm-hmm.
125 to 100 to 85. And then during the inspection period, there was some valid reasons for us to come in for a price reduction that were pretty
Mm-hmm.
serious, right? And he understood, right? So I tried to get a price reduction for $20,000. I only managed to get a price reduction for 10,000, which was really my goal. And we ended up settling at 75,000. Was it 75 or was it 70? Think it was 75,000, right? So then we went from 85 to 75. We got that locked up, and we immediately resold it to an investor. I think we made a $10,000 assignment fee, something to keep the machine oiled up and
Mm-hmm.
going. But the moral of the story, I mean, that could have been a $5,000 deal. It could have been a $30,000 deal. I mean, I've had stories of similar situations, and then the price points are just different, right? So yeah, man, from 125, we ended up settling at 75. So that's a, $50,000 price difference. And again, time and circumstance, and the fact that we kept, like, he knew who I was, he knew my name. And I was genuinely like, yeah, obviously we want to make money, but I was also genuinely like interested in
Mm-hmm.
helping and working with this guy because I knew I could do it. So
Yeah.
So yeah, man.
Another trend I'm realizing from what you're telling me is that you guys don't consider the sale is done when you get under contract. No, the sale is done when the transaction gets done and people receive the money.
100%, man. I mean, realistically, man, anybody can put a property in a contract, you know? But actually pushing the deal through, that's a different story. That's a different story because like you hear stories about, people getting offered like these numbers and you're like, I don't see how that can happen, but okay. I get tons of callbacks, man. People calling me back. Hey, listen, I spoke to a guy yesterday. Hey, listen, man, I've been through this 3 times already. I took those higher offers and then, so it's like, yeah, anybody can put a property in a contract, but can you actually fulfill the contract, which is that's where we take the pride, in doing what we do is like actually fulfilling,
Yeah.
right? Fulfilling the contract and because that's how we get paid at the end of the day, right? But fulfilling the seller's needs is definitely priority, and we know we're going to get paid for doing so. So it's like kind of one of those things. You find your why, and it makes everything a lot more. It makes your goal clearly defined.
Bro, that's really good what I'm hearing, man. And I'm always quoting Alex Hormozy. Sorry for that. You listen to that in almost every call with me. But that's, I mean, like Alex Hormozy says, people can copy your offer. They can't copy your results.
Facts. I mean, that's what we're saying. Anybody can put a property in the contract, and then like not everybody can fulfill, right? So that's 100% valid, man.
Yeah, I
100%.
mean that lets you have a nice start in front of people and also be upfront, sticking to your guns, and try to find the very best deal. I mean, ideally, everybody wants low hanging fruit, and you've had. I mean, in the previous success calls that we've discussed, you also have those, right? Low hanging fruit, things that you get under contract fairly fast, and then you end up moving, making $20,000. I mean, those exist, but when people are only doing those, they miss the opportunity of monetizing these deals as well, and also helping people. Because, I mean, yeah, you want the ideal situation, but it's really not that the person is bringing you a less than ideal situation. No, they're facing that less than ideal situation. So, in a sense, it's almost as if you make it clear from the beginning, hey, dude, it's you and me against the situation that you're facing. It's not you against me. No, we're here to try to help. And if we end up being a good fit, let's do it. If not, that's okay as well. I'm just here to try to add a little bit of value in your journey of making us your decision to sell the house. Does that make sense?
That's absolute. That's 100%, man. I mean, for that example or for that statement you just said there, I mean, I've had like I already know in my company, I already know how often we get what we call like lap deals or unicorn deals where they're like came in, locked it up, and it's a freaking phenomenal deal, and we're like, holy crap, this is gonna be a freaking banger. We already know how often we get those, right? Because of how, and sometimes they're new leads and sometimes they're old leads that just come back and their expectations are reset by, the market and other wholesalers and what their experiences and things of that nature. So man, we just like I said, we got to keep on keeping on and just capitalize on everything and like I kid you not, man. I get a lot of callbacks from people who, we planted that seed, they took a higher offer, and the experience wasn't what they expected, and then they come back to us, and so if I can leave it, because at the end of the day, right, they have their needs and their wants, and you can influence that to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
But I also want to put my time where I need to put my time, right? So if you can just leave off on a good note and build a good solid rapport and relationship with these people, chances are they'll remember you and they'll probably call you back when they're actually like, okay, you know what, I need to do this. I remember this guy. Let me call him back and see what he has to say. And then sometimes they're willing. They already know more or less what you do, what we're looking for, how we're looking to buy. If they're calling you back, I mean, there's a pretty good chance that they might be more leaning to your side than they're where they were initially. So. I mean,
Bro,
it's
I have a quick piece of insight that I just learned and that I was able to see reflected on a lot of my clients that are successful. And it is that when people end up having more of the tougher scenarios in which, like, hey man, this guy needs to make it happen. They're like very close to making a decision to sell the house, but they seem unrealistic. A lot of the times what's going on is that they already had somebody that they prefer or a preferred solution. You see what I'm saying? Like, you leave it for a time when you think they're the hottest, but when they're the hottest, they also have other solutions and they don't prefer you. You see what I'm trying to say? So,
yeah,
so a huge portion of your success, man, I'm pretty sure is the contact rate too. You guys are consistently, I mean, over 80, 85% contact rate for fresh leads, for newer leads.
mm-hmm.
And that puts you at an advantage because that allows you to put yourself in front of a lot of situations and you can be the preferred person of many of those sellers. So the work that you guys are doing this week and the next, yeah, you're gonna get contracts from those, right? But you're also building momentum for the deals you're gonna get in the next few weeks, if that makes
100%,
sense.
100%. Yeah, we know. Like this example, this guy took 5 months. All right, I didn't know if it was going to close that day or not. 5 months. It was 3, 7, 8 months. I think it was. But
March
anyways, I
to
mean, yeah,
yeah.
March to pretty much October because it closed, or September. I didn't know if he was going to close on the first call. I don't know if he was going to close the next one, but I knew he was going to sell sometime, right? And I just needed to be there. So, I planted that seed in March, happened in September. And then in between, I mean, we have those deals that do close in 30 days, right? Or sooner sometimes, right around that. So it's just, man, it's just continuing to plant those seeds and eventually they'll start, giving.
That makes a lot of sense. Um, I know that we're a little bit limited on time. You want to add something about the most recent deals that you got? Like, you
Yeah.
got some contracts, I believe, last week or the week before.
So last week, yeah, what was it, this week and last week? Um, I do want to talk more about well, okay. So the one that I got this week was a one call close, right? The situation was there, all that good stuff. And realistically, if the seller's ready, it's nothing special. If the seller's ready and they like you, you'll probably end up getting the contract, right? I'm not necessarily like proud of it being a one call close, but what we were just saying, right, is you got those that take months, you got those that are ready right now. And so it's kind of like let's work every opportunity that we can. But one other one that I do want to talk about is so the one that we got last week, right? Funny story, but similar situation. The seller took a higher offer. They listed it on the market without his knowledge, all that good stuff. So it kind of caused a little gray area. They couldn't perform. The wholesalers could not perform on the deal, so they just ended up texting him like the day of closing. Didn't answer his calls, all that good stuff. So that's another thing that I feel like really gives you a huge amount of credibility as well. One of the issues that I'm seeing a lot right now with a lot of wholesalers, I mean, it happens all the time, man, and yet it leaves a bad taste in their mouth with investors. And that, we come in and we highlight those things and we stand out, right? We show them like, I mean, right now we have a property that just closed yesterday that has been under contract for uh close to 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
It was supposed to be a 30-day close, and I mean, this was a buyer and lender nightmare. It took 2 months, about a month and a half more than expected, and this family was already like I had to call them on the closing day, right? This is where I'm getting to. I had to call them on the closing day. It was a Wednesday. They were moving from Florida to North Carolina. They already had their house under contract over there. They already had their U-Haul packed up. They had already pretty much cleaned out the house, sold everything. I had to call them on settlement day when they were like waiting to get the funds to immediately drive up to North Carolina. I said, "Hey, buddy, listen, man, this, and this happened. Like, it's out of my control, unfortunately, but this is where we're at, right? So we have to extend closing. Oh, for how long? I think just 2 days. Oh, okay, well, let me know because I have, we don't have any food in the house. Everything is in the U-Haul, So that Friday, like that was Wednesday. Friday, I had to give him the news again. So I was constantly in front of his face, and every single week, when I had to keep postponing and postponing. I mean, I was so embarrassed, to have put him through that situation, right? Which is part of the game and everything. But we were there, like, with good news and bad news, we had to deliver it. And so much so that, like, they could have easily just said, you know what, we'll find somebody else. But they held on, they understood, although it wasn't in anybody's best interest for that situation to happen, they understood. And the fact that I was constantly in front of them reassured them that, hey, listen, it's not a matter of if we get this done, it's a matter of when. And right now, this is what's happening. I'm sorry. But we're doing everything in our power, right? So we exhausted that. That was one for the books. It was definitely the most difficult transaction I've ever had to deal with. Um, but yeah, man, and although, like, we were just texting this morning, and although the experience was horrible, 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 he still had good things to say about me, right? So like all that stuff, it's like, okay, if you carry yourself, if you operate in a way where like that's part of your core, right? Your core values is like providing that service and helping people and just getting shit done and figuring it out. You translate that over to the world and
Mm.
to these sellers too, and you capitalize on more opportunity. You get more opportunities put in front of you. The universe puts
Is
more.
is that the main story that you shared with the guy that you looked up last week, right? Or that was the guy that you looked up last week? No, no. I mean, of course, it's a whole story that you were telling me. So you use
Yeah,
those
that
examples
guy.
with her.
What do you mean?
You use those examples like that story with him, or tell me more about that. Like, I mean, you ended up looking up the deal last week. Tell me more about how it came to be.
Yeah, I completely veered off the path here, man. So that was that story,
Okay.
right? It was that story about that seller that was.
Uh-huh.
So, anyways, this newer lead, he was under contract. They pretty much like they messed with him, right? So they didn't even
Mm,
call him. They
okay.
just texted him. So when I called him back, the conversation was like, "Hey, Mr. Larry, what happened? Oh, they couldn't perform. Yeah, remember when I told you that I won't be your highest offer, right? Your highest verbal offer, but I can get it done. Right. And the way, and then I give them some stories and some scenarios and kind of, put their mind in these other people's shoes that are doing things the wrong way. I'm like, listen, a lot of times they tell you what you want to hear, to get you under contract, but then you waste 30 to 45 days of your life. You got all these plans going on. Listen, I'm not gonna play that game with you, right? I'm here to tell you what I can and can't do. Can we? So, anyways, this league came back around. Literally the day they were supposed to close, they canceled. He called me. He called me. I don't know if I was his next call, but he called me that day. He said, "Hey, this is what I got going on." Okay, perfect. Boom, put it together. Put it under contract. So initially, like when I spoke to him, the moral of the story is when I spoke to him, he was shopping around, right? And he had a guy that was like just right above him. But I knew like these numbers are not. So I was like, okay, I gave him, hey, just watch out for this, just make sure you covered on your end. And he took the offer. And then when he came back, I'm like, told you so.
Told you
So
so.
now that gives him that credibility, that like
Mm.
trust, that yeah, I'm not gonna be your highest verbal offer, but I'm the real deal.
You're the real deal, bro. A lot of the times, I mean, ways to sell a home, man, they're countless, right? And you brought me to one of the biggest realizations that I've had recently, and it is when your messaging aligns to the three main benefits that as an investor solution gives people. That's where you get deals done at the right timing, whether it's one call close or whether it takes a little bit more. And those three main benefits are certainty, speed, and convenience. People understand about convenience. People understand more about speed. They don't always believe that's true because some people say they need to sell fast and they take longer than you expect. But a lot of the times it's because of the certainty. right? I mean, without further information, they're looking for the biggest price because that's what's gonna give them certainty that they're gonna get their whatever they need to get done, right? But when they realize the price is not the main thing, guess what happens? Now they're looking for the other stuff, right? And one of them is certainty, right? So that's the reason that if you understand where these people are coming from, they are investor leads. They're leads that can benefit the most from the results-oriented mindset of an investor, right? If they wanted to sell the house other way, they go to an agent, then they're not your leads, right? So that's the reason converting those leads are more difficult. It's more difficult, but online marketing, Facebook marketing, Hesel Media type of leads, they're investor leads. So if you start with that vision, bro, you're gonna get deals whenever they need to get done, and you're gonna have good numbers as well, and you're gonna help people.
100%, man. 100%, man. The opportunities are there, man. It's just, you gotta keep at it and learn how to capitalize on them, man. I mean,
Capitalize them. Yeah, definitely, man. Really good stuff in this conversation, bro. When you get one more of those one call closes, don't think it was just destiny. No, man. I mean, you've been preparing for that, for more of those. And don't get surprised if in October you get 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 same day closes. Why not? Same day or next day closes. Doesn't have to be a first call. Could be, let's put it this way, same week closes. I think that should be more normal, especially right now that everything is so turbulent. There is a lot of people that are going through these situations that you already mentioned. So they're just looking for the right type of solution and the right type of investor or company that are going to help them with the solution. If it makes
Exactly.
sense.
Exactly. 100%, man. 100%.
Awesome, bro. Good stuff. Any final words?
Nah, man. I mean, one thing I would say, man, is like out of everything that we discussed, man, just being committed, determined, and resourceful. Being resourceful, I think, has been one of the key highlight changes when we like actually made it part of our core values and like implemented every single. We have core values on the wall, and something happens, we got to figure shit out. We look up there, boom, hey, become resourceful, boom, and that has I mean, that has done so much for us, man. It's like, and we can't be afraid to reach out to people, man, whether it's other wholesalers, investors, lenders, realtors, whatever you got to do, man. I mean, you gotta talk to people, not just talk to the seller, but talk to people, and
Nice,
because
man.
every problem has a solution. Every problem has a solution.
Yeah.
Whether that solution is something that you can take care of, that's another question. But you just got to get resourceful, man.
You just have to keep moving.
Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly.
Love it. Awesome, man. So really good stuff. Until the next success call. Thank you so much.
For sure, man. Thank you, Carlos.